initial thoughts?
Shooting. It's become the clear and obvious point here at the back end of the portal. They are looking for guys to shoot the ball. We talked about it all off season. This is what BYU needs. They need to replace these guys like Trevin Nell, like Moet Mag, who can straight up lace it. And Tyler Mrus is one of those dudes. If you go watch any of his highlights, he is a shooter off the dribble, off screens, standing still in the corner. He can do it all. And so BYU is clearly going after guys that could put the ball in the hoop from beyond the arc, and this is what they got.
Yeah, and also you offer size too. It's not like you're going after some 6'2", 6'3" guy that you go, how are we going to place him defensively and whatnot. He can actually match up with some guys defensively as well. You're not giving up that size, and you're getting a great shooter. 38%, and you watch a lot of his stuff from Idaho, and even it wasn't just a wide open three he could knock down. He wasn't hitting naked threes left and right. He was knocking down contested shots after pump fakes and whatnot, coming off screens. And so I think we see him sitting in the corner quite a bit and coming off ball screens, kind of playing that Trevin Nell like role. Now Trevin probably comes off screens a lot quicker, and he also is he's more experienced. I mean, he was also 26 years old when he was playing basketball. So. But I think he plays that role a little bit, maybe not the same amount of minutes, especially initially, but I think that's the role everybody should expect him to play.
Yeah, it's just clear to me what they're emphasizing. It's shooting, and then, he's 6'7", a legit 6'7", so that length is going to be huge. The lineups they were going to be able to throw out without sacrificing any sort of scoring is going to be wild. So I think he's exactly what BYU is looking for and what's fitting into this system and replacing exactly what they needed in Trevin Nell and what they had. And so I don't expect him to do anything too crazy other than what you said, kind of be sitting in the corner, coming off some screens on some set plays and shooting. I think it's up to him to kind of determine his minutes. Can he work hard to become a formidable defender? And then can he become a reliable rebounder? At that size, you can offer so much. And so I think it's going to be up to Tyler Mrus to figure out how much he really does want to play in the system and become valuable and someone that you can't keep off the court. It's going to be his to earn. I don't think he's slotting right into, obviously not starting, and he's not sliding into just 20 plus minutes right away. But I think there's room and opportunity to earn some more, kind of like we saw from Moet Mag or a couple other guys this season who played their way into these roles. And so if he can be that guy, it's going to be huge. He's also, I think, going to benefit Karter from a lot more open looks than he did at Idaho, playing with the talent of Rob Wright, Richie Saunders, AJ DeBonsta, all these guys who are going to be attracting so much attention from the defense. He's going to be able to kind of live in that three-point line and be able to get looks he's probably never even seen before because heaven knows in high school he probably was the number one focus for a team, and then at Idaho was a big part of their offense. And so it's going to be a different feel for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the other thing is, you go, when people see these transfers go from, low major, mid major up to, Power 5 elite basketball, they go, oh, well, they haven't played this level. The jump's going to be too much for them. But like you mentioned, at Idaho, you're not getting those great looks that you will be on a team where, look, you're not going to be the number one focus. There's 4 other dudes on the court who are going to be the number one focus for a defense. So you're going to have a lot of open threes. Now those threes just have a lot more pressure because you're playing at BYU, and all of a sudden you're playing in these major games against other Power 5 teams. And so there is more pressure there. The other thing, you look at this and go, there's a lot of people competing for limited playing time in this team, especially, in that 2, 3, 4 positions, and all those wing guys. Brody announced he's coming back. He's going to be there, and Boop, he's going to be playing next season. I hope I pronounced that name right, by the way. And then, and then you got Mrus coming in. So those 3 guys alone, plus not to mention even Dawson Baker as well, and I'm sure even more guys coming at this point. There's going to be a lot of competition for limited spots coming off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to breed hopefully an aggressive practice and a lot of competition on that side of the coaching staff. I think it's just become their philosophy, Karter. We talked about it a lot. If you've listened to us, they may have what we call it over-recruited because there's just so many guys, not enough minutes to go around. I think that they're probably content doing that. That's what we're seeing. That they don't really care if too much talent is never really a bad thing, unless egos start to get hurt or things like that come into play. And so someone like Tyler Mrus coming in is just telling me, like, we'd rather just fill the locker room with as much talent as we can and let them fight for it, play for it, and figure it out amongst themselves as they go along.
And I think it's a mix of getting guys that, hey, I'm okay accepting this role for now, but the coaching staff has told these players that, hey, if you come in and you truly buy in and you excel at what you do and you deserve a bigger role, you will get that bigger role. Like you talked about, Moet Mag is the perfect example for that.
Yeah, so rosters lining up, Carter. I think there's about there's one more left. One more left in there that the coaching staff's looking for. Recruiting office is working hard at. This seems like a good addition. Like we said in the last episode, we're not looking for huge splashes now. I think you made your really big one with Rob Wright, and I think you're getting Richie Saunders back, which we haven't recorded since he announced officially. But obviously huge for BYU and very exciting for him in his career and what this team's going to look like. It's what we expected, so I don't think there's anything too much to talk about. But the next transfer in, if there is one, which we think there will be, again, not another big splash. You got to feel like it has to be a backup point guard. Has to be a backup point guard. That's the one spot you're missing, right?
It will be a backup point guard. I think both of us feel confident in saying their next portal or whatever, the next addition to this team will be a backup point guard, and likely the final piece of it. Maybe you see random guys sprinkle in there to fill roster spots and scholarship spots, but those guys won't be playing as much. Now that Mrus is there, backup point guard comes in, that's the roster right there. And that's a great roster. In my opinion, you're looking at the roster, you're thinking, look, at worst this is a top 10 team. Really, it's a top 5 team. I think it could be even the best team in the country.
It really could. I mean, and we're talking about guys who may not even be playing that much, and all this talent coming in, and you watch their highlights. Like, that's how talented and deep this team's going to be once again. And it's really exciting, man, to see BYU in this position, to be an attractive destination for these recruits and transfers. What day is it? I mean, last day of April. We sleep in May. But we're not sleeping, We're sitting here on the recruiting trail.
We'll be recording more podcasts, especially once the backup point guard gets announced and whatnot. And, a lot of the focus is now turned towards 2026 and what that recruiting class looks like. And to be honest, in my opinion, I just don't think the top of the 26 recruiting class is one of those all-timers like we're seeing this past year in college basketball, this upcoming year in college basketball. So it'll be interesting to see how BYU recruits with the 26 class, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more info come out about that going forward. Going back to the Richie point, Richie coming back officially, it's also just really nice that it's official and it's done. And, look, I think it would have been fine for him to test the NBA draft stuff and everything. I'm sure Kevin Young and their coaching staff, they got enough intel on, like, look, this is what you need to improve. This is where you'd go. This is likely where you'd be slotted. And so you almost don't need to necessarily, it sounds bad, but waste your time with going to the NBA draft combine. Go put good film out next year with AJ and all these draft scouts coming in. Focus on playing at BYU next season. Because the other thing is, what if you go out, people don't talk about this with testing the waters with the NBA draft combine. Well, what if you go to the combine as a junior and you put really bad tape together there? Then it puts a lot more pressure on you going into next season.
And in the next combine, right?
Yeah,
especially. You got to improve a great amount. I'm sure Richie would have done great, but this was the right move, in my opinion. And I think obviously I think he's making the decision that's best for him. I'm just so excited. I mean, we've seen exponential growth from him every single season here at BYU, the culmination of which was last season. I hope he still gets his shots. I hope he still gets the focus that he deserves. I'm sure he will. I mean, I trust the coaching staff to do what they're going to do with him, while also adding an insane talent in AJ and then Rob Wright. I mean, I can't believe we're even talking about these guys on this team. But the sweetest seems to be Richie Saunders in my mind, just because he's a homegrown. He is the epitome of BYU basketball and being in this program and what Kevin Young can do for your career. And also Mark Pope's got obviously he takes a lot of credit for that and being the primary recruiter and coaching him his first 2 seasons. It's just, I mean, he's growing up right before our eyes, and it's been a blast to root for him, and I'm super excited we got to do it for a whole nother year and see his development continue to grow, because he is that guy now. And for all that we talked about with Tyler Mrus coming in and literally everyone coming in, Richie became the focus at the end of last season. He was, all right, you have to stop 15. He is that nasty. And that'll still be on the scouting report, but so will AJ and so will Rob Wright. And so I honestly expect maybe Richie gets even more looks. Defenses are even more lax for him because their best defenders are going to have to be on AJ DeMonsta. That it might just open things up even more for Richie Saunders to have an even crazier year this season.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And also, just you don't take these things. You don't take 4-year guys for you can't take them for granted anymore. Like, it is so rare to see a guy stay all 4 years and grow and progress, because a lot of the times with these 4-year guys is they stick around longer than they necessarily should, or look, their potential got maxed out by the end of their sophomore year or junior year, and they've kind of hovered at that level and haven't really improved their game. And like you said, it's been exponential growth every year with Richie. Now, I don't think he has that same jump he had from sophomore to junior year, but I still think we see improvement, because also, like you talked about with AJ coming in and all these pieces around him, everything's just going to be easier for him. Like, it's the game is good. A lot of it was on his shoulders last year, and a lot of the pressure was on him. I mean, if you're Richie right now, you're sitting there going, man, this is going to be way easier. Everyone's focusing on that guy. I'm sitting here. I don't have 2 defenders on me all the time. I don't have someone, chasing me down every single place I go because they're so focused on elsewhere. So it's super exciting stuff, like we keep talking about. And we're going to say that 1,000 more times, and I'm not ashamed about it. And another thing, talking about guys competing for playing time with Mrus, Kozlowski, all these guys. I didn't even mention Kennard Davis, Diamande. Like, all these dudes are competing for those minutes, along with you've got Richie and AJ DeMonsta starting in these roles as well. It's like, oh my gosh, there's going to be no minutes for some of these guys. And that's okay.
It is okay. I think it's also telling, like, what's the pitch to a guy like Kennard Davis Jr. or even to Diamande, where it's like, look, dude, I'm not going to guarantee you a starting spot. We know 4 of them already, but you're going to have a chance to play if you can do this, do that. Like, it shows a lot about Kevin Young, a lot about the coaching staff, that these guys are still committing despite that. Because most guys go to the portal, they're looking for starting and money, and they're looking to just get their shots up. But if you're a transfer heading to BYU, like, that's not what's available right now. They're maxed out on that point. Maybe not the money thing, but you're going to join a team to contribute the way that you can. And those are the type of players that we talked about last episode that you need to succeed. And so they're getting them. BYU's getting them.
Can't agree more. You have to get these guys that are willing to accept these roles. And like we just talked about before, you can say, hey, if you're playing this well, you will get a bigger role. And that's the whole point of it. And is there anything else to really touch on?
No, I mean, I can't believe we can go this long with this little information. Anyway,
yeah, there's not much going on, and even the college basketball world in general, now that the portal's kind of died down, it's there's really not much going on outside of the portal, and there's some BYU recruiting news going on, and we'll talk about that and whatnot later on. But yeah, quicker episode today. Want to get an emergency pod out for Tyler Mrus committing to BYU. The roster settling in. Got a couple more pieces to add, and it'll finally be done. And we have an exciting guest coming next week on the show, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe at ChurchBallPod on everything, at CarterBA, at Chase_Rogers0. And also, if you're an NBA fan, you want to hear Chase and I talk some more, I don't know why you would, but if you do, go over to CarterCast. We'll be on there doing NBA playoff stuff, and we'll be doing live reactions. We just recorded a podcast just recently breaking down all the NBA playoff stuff. So go check that out, and we will see